Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Great White & Co. My name is Sri, and today I'm joined by Austin for our review of Marvel's Spider-Man on the PS4. Now, before we begin, I just want to say a couple quick things. First of all, this is the first time that we've done this format, so let us know what you think, whether you like it or you have some feedback. We appreciate it. And second of all, spoilers ahead. This game's been out for a few years, so we're just going to let all the plot details fly. So if you have not yet played the game, or hell, if you even have just a little tiny inkling inside of yourself that maybe wants to check this game out, I would highly recommend that you wait and check out the game first and then come back to this. But with that said, let's get into this long winded review, discussion, where we will weave our combined thoughts into one cohesive piece for you. Austin, I tried my best for that little pun
That was
right
a good
there.
one. That was a good one. I liked
Thank
it.
you,
I
thank
like
you.
I like Weave.
For those of you who don't know, we are live on twitch.tv/Great White & Co. And Austin asked me right before I started the intro to include some sort of a pun. And that was the best I got there. So, one thing, the most important question, I think, Austin, before we begin this review, what suit do you want me to pick for the rest of this?
Tobey
Review?
Maguire Spider-Man. You gotta go Tobey Maguire
I
Spider-Man.
had a strong feeling that that was going to be it.
Every single ever since it came out, that's all I play with is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
All right, so rocking some pretty decent stats right here. I have completed the game now. I keep clicking this thing. It's not that thing. I've completed the game and I have done the heist. I finished the heist storyline and I have to do Turf Wars and Silver Lining. But other than that, I've done the main story, and I think that's what mainly we're going to talk about in this review. Austin, when was the last time you played it? I finished it this week, but just so.
So I 100% of the game when it came out, and then I played through all the DLC except for Episode 3, The Silver Lining,
Uh,
like as they released. So when I got my PS5, I bought the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, which came with the remastered version of this game. So
oh,
um,
yes.
So I replayed this recently, and I actually even went back and like 100% all the DLC because I only played it for content after I 100% the main portion.
Uh huh.
So I would say probably a couple weeks removed from replaying this.
Oh. I know that you got the pretty much it's an instant plat. Also, what just happened there? Did that bomb just go off right as I got to it?
I think so.
How did I lose that one? But anyway, yeah, I just played it for the first time, and you know what? It's crazy. I remember it's gonna be a throwback. So back when E3 was still going strong, and Sony actually did E3s,
Oh
they
yeah,
did PlayStation. Which, by the way, Sony E3s were just like,
I know exactly what you're going to allude to, and it's the greatest thing in video game, like recent video game history.
oh,
Of the Puddle Gate, is that what it was called?
oh, there was Puddlegate. I wasn't referring to that, but that is
Oh,
true.
you weren't? I thought that's what you're going with because I
No,
remember
no, no.
everyone's like, "This looked different at
In
E3."
three, yeah. Same thing with Watch Dogs and that whole thing. But no. So PlayStation did a thing called E3, PlayStation E3 Experience, and these E3 experiences. Actually, maybe you know what? Let me. God, I keep clicking this thing. Let me pick something to do. Let's do.
Are you so the experiences? I believe it's. I went to one of these. It's where like a
Yeah.
local movie theater, or some sort of big area that can house people that isn't the conference room at E3 itself, um, displays the conference to a large room of people.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost all. It's pretty much in a. It's an IMAX theater, so it's like the biggest screen there is.
Yeah, I remember my experience. It was uh 2 or 3 years ago. It was The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima. Those were the two really big ones they gave out. Codes for Guacamelee.
Oh
They gave
wow,
us
yeah.
PSN points that I actually used to buy the Uncharted and Last of Us Part One.
Oh
And
nice.
they also gave us posters and a collectible coin for Ghost of Tsushima. So, and I also had the weirdest interaction with the guy that was sitting next to me, like when like Ellie kissed the girl in like the trailer
Uh
for Last of Us 2. He's like, yes.
huh. There's okay. Well, that's one experience. So my experience was, I remember where the hell is. Oh, this right here. Um, So I went 3 years in a row, and I very clearly remember one of the moments that I very clearly remember was the God of War reveal, and that was just like amazing. And the other one, oh boy, getting shot at. By the way, the reason why we're gonna have two people review on these reviews is because playing and talking, especially trying to, I'm just getting my ass handed to me.
You are garbage at this game,
bro.
sir.
It's hard
I should
talking
be the one playing.
and talking and playing at the same time. So that's why we have two people, one person to keep the conversation going while the other person just struggles to play. But yeah, God of War was one of them, which is awesome, and the other one was Spider-Man, which is like the extended previews of Spider-Man. I am gonna die. Okay.
Sorry, the fact that your suit power is resupply and not the
bro. These guys have guns.
What difficulty did you play this game on, Sri? Like, you're getting wrecked, dude.
All right, here I'm getting back into the flow of it. It's been a few days.
You're a little bit too friendly of a neighborhood Spider-Man.
I don't hurt anyone. Batman doesn't kill. I don't hurt. Speaking of, I saw these videos.
I'm gonna do you a favor. Go into your suit menu right now.
All right. Oh, I keep going the wrong one. Dude. What do you want me to do?
Go to your suit power.
Suit power?
And put... Yep. You'll get there. There you go.
I'm there. Which one? What do you want?
Where's your web blossom?
The hell is a web blossom?
It's literally the first one you unlock.
It's not true. I don't got it.
How the fuck don't you got it? Hold up. How is this possible? Yes, go.
Web blossom? What are you talking about, dude? Am I handing out flowers?
Go to the first suit that you could possibly unlock. Like that they just give it to you.
That one?
No.
That one.
Go all the way. No associated. No. Go over.
Web blossom right here. Leap into the air and web everything in sight. What the hell is?
Oh yes, it is amazing. Buy that suit.
Yep.
You will not regret it.
All right, I have equipped this web blossom. All right.
It is going to save you so much. You click both the L3 and R3, and you jump up in the air and spin in a circle, and shoot, and you shoot webs. So you just it's an AOE attack to where if you're in a sticky situation, finally got that pun out.
Oh, there it is.
This
whole thing was a setup.
You can get out of it pretty easily by just taking down a group of enemies at once, and it includes like those bad guys, or the big guys, the big brutes. So very helpful. It's by far my favorite. Just because the way I play is I'm very aggressive in the attack, with like I don't like using gadgets. If you like using gadgets, I guess resupply is good, but I'm all up in your face. I'm gonna dodge. I'm gonna dip, dive, dodge, duck, and dodge, or dive, whatever the thing is from dodgeball.
Well, anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm gonna drop that down one. There it is. Getting the audio levels right. Anyway, so I remember watching Spider-Man that day, or those 2 times at E3, and being like, wow, this game's gonna be just fantastic. And when it came out, I had it on my backlog, but I never got around to it until I got it this Christmas. So I was like, this is my chance. This makes sense. Shout out to Alexa, by the way, for hooking me up with a copy. And surprisingly, despite having watched all of the E3 coverage and stuff, I stayed away from spoilers since this game came out. And it came out in 2018, I believe, right?
2018 was the original release.
Yeah, right. September of 2018, I think, was when it came out. And I somehow managed to stay clear of all spoilers. And it is such a great experience when you go in completely blind. Because
here's the beautiful thing about superhero games and movies, for that matter, is at the end the hero's gonna win, and like that's why like Infinity War was like a really big deal, because that ultimately was the first time you saw they did not win. I mean, it ultimately led to a victory, but like that was the first time where a movie ended. We were like, well, like shit, like, people died.
Yeah.
But like that Spider-Man's gonna win. Like they're not gonna just kill him off. I mean, they could, but they're not gonna.
And so it's such a great experience because there's things that I was like, oh, and it was almost like you could say the game was either you could look at it this two ways. Either the game was subverting my expectations, or I was being too like judgmental of it or whatnot. But on a surface level, just kind of covering it from the basics, it's a superhero story. So it's Spider-Man. He's been Spider-Man for a few years,
So this station
and
collects overflow data from all
huh?
the others. Yeah, God forbid we waste
Which is
ours.
important,
Yeah,
man,
important.
Anyway,
because
do me a favor and
they
make
could
sure
have
it's
went the
running
route
smoothly,
of,
or everything
oh no,
this
Uncle
station
Ben dies
stands for
again.
nothing.
Yeah,
Like
show it,
that
take it from the
was,
top. Like
yeah,
Batman's
but
parents dying, parents dying, that kind
but
of
the
thing.
fact that they kind of avoided all that and you step into this as a polished like superhero like makes sense because the skill level that regardless of your history of these kind of games, like you still feel like you're a polished superhero because you still have a little bit of gadgets at the beginning. You have the ability to take a punch and then dish it right back out. Like it makes a lot of sense in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also where do I go? There, right there.
What's taking up all that space on Harry's servers?
And
Looked like DNA sequencing, but
that it's pretty much just
seems beyond the scope of my
him
research
saving the city from new danger. I'll say, but you find out later that it's dangers and not just one danger. And I gotta say, so at first, so the reason why I mentioned the whole E3 thing is because during E3 they showed off Martin Lee as this, or Mr. Negative as he's called, as the bad guy, right? I failed to get the capture or capture the data. Okay, cool. They show Mr. Negative as the bad guy, and when you start the game, it pretty much just says like,
Gotta find another link in the array.
oh, like
Got it.
Mr. Negative,
Have to
like
keep doing that.
Martin Lee's a separate person, and they don't really. It's almost like they're pretending that Martin Lee is not Mr. Negative and that you don't know that. And when I first started, I was like, man,
this guy that looks exactly
What's taking
like
up
the
all that
other
space
guy
on
Yeah,
isn't
right.
the same guy. Like
And
the worst kept secret ever.
at first I was like,
It's like Clark Kent isn't Superman. Like really?
Yeah,
This dude that looks exactly like Superman with glasses isn't Superman.
it's like honestly, it's even worse because like if you took a negative photo of him, of Mr. Negative,
it would look
literally
like
it would just be him.
It won't matter what
That's all police needed to do was just take a photo of him. But anyway, I digress. But when I first played, I was like, wow, so this is like this is what's gonna happen, right? Like they're trying to hide the secret, and then they'll come out like, oh, Martin Lee was actually the bad guy the whole time, and then that's the
Close.
plot twist at the end, and then Parker will be like, Martin Lee, it's me, Peter Parker, and he's like, Peter, oh my God, that makes so much sense. You're Spider-Man, and then like I resent my sins, and I'll be a good guy from now on or something. I thought that was where it was gonna go, and then it's revealed in like at the end of Act 1 that he's Mr. Negative, and I was like, oh, maybe that's not what's gonna happen. And they also set up Dr. Octavius, who as someone who's a fan of Spider-Man, even if you're not a fan of Spider-Man, if you
everybody
watch
knows who
Spider-Man
Doc
2, where the hell is this thing? If you watch Spider-Man 2, you'll know Doc Ock. And I remember being like, oh man, I wonder how they're going to do this Doc Ock thing. Because the whole time I was like, oh, he's going to be some small minor character that's going to be, where the hell is this thing, dude?
Look in the sky. Look around.
Oh, there it is.
Should be in view of the ESU server now.
Oh, he's going to be like some small side character, just a small nod, and then he'll be the villain in the next one or something. But no, it turns out he's actually the main villain, and at the end of Act 2, Martin Lee essentially gets captured, or no, at the end of Act 2, Martin Lee gets captured or arrested, and then there's a mass breakout. Oh, dude, screw these puzzles.
Just a quick shout out in the chat. Loaded hair glasses. Hello.
Hey,
she said hi.
Loading Hair Glasses. Hello, welcome.
They said hi. I shouldn't say her. I just saw Alexa and just assumed.
Good.
No. Yeah, that's what. So you just assume everyone in chat is Alexa. Just
Yeah,
with a
it's
different,
just a bunch of different Alexas.
with a different. Well, I was gonna say just her with different accounts.
Let's see.
Guys, we need to get these numbers up on streams. Gonna make different accounts.
But no, this game does very good job
Looks good.
like really keeping you on your toes, because like you were just saying, is that like you go around, you're like, oh, like Mr. Negative is going to be like like he's going to be the guy throughout the whole game, and then like you get halfway through the game and you're like, well, like
Let's see.
that's not what I expected.
Yeah, I know. And it's even put three
Sorry,
there.
you're over.
I'm good. I got it. That's how I solve them. I just kind of get the pieces down and then I edit the voltages.
It's working.
And so yeah, there's like this huge twist at the end where everyone's out of prison at the end of Act 2, and it turns out that it's Doc Ock behind it. And I love
Everything's
and
stored
even then,
successfully.
right? Even
Should be
then,
fine
when
until I have
Doc
no one
Ock comes
assigned
out, I was
here
like,
some more
oh, I know what they're
space.
gonna do. At the end,
He'll be glad
they're gonna
to
be
when he
like
sees
Doc
what the
Ock's
station's
gonna
been doing.
be destroying
He's
everything,
going to save the day.
and Spider-Man's gonna come in, and then he's gonna like rip off his mask. He's like, "It's me, Peter Parker, this whole time," and he's like, "Whoa, Peter Parker, whoa, I'm a bad man now. I see that," and then he resents his. I thought it was just gonna be a basic plot twist, and then it gets to the end, and it turns out that Doc knew that Peter Parker was
The
Spider-Man
whole time.
the whole time.
I mean,
and,
in all fairness, it goes back to keeping secrets.
Mhm.
You made the suit in his fucking lab. Like, no duh, he was gonna figure out.
Well, no, because
eventually,
when he finds out, he says, because he finds you at the start of the game, he says, "Oh my God, it's you. It makes so much sense. You designed Spider-Man's suits." And Peter's like, "Oh yeah, that's me, totally, yeah." And you're like, "Oh wow, that was a close one," but we made it. We he didn't find out or whatever. But the fact that he knew, and it's one of those things, and it's this thing that this game does so well. It adds so much to the games, to the characters, because when you find out, it's like the rage is even more justified. Like you're like, oh my,
Right.
like how screw this guy. Like I thought he was fighting,
use Web
destroying.
Blossom real quick.
Oh, pause.
So you can see how good of a power up it is.
Oh, use the blossom. I thought you said you pause.
No, use the Web Blossom. I mean, you kind of already like get them grouped together.
Oh, I see. That'll help. I mean, it gives you some space.
Yeah, I mean, if they were closer and like just normal street thugs, they would have you would have been able to take out like 4 of them.
Oh, nice. But it adds so much to the character that like he knew that we were Spider-Man, and he still put us through so much kind of pain, and he set up traps for us and stuff in his lab. Like
Right,
that,
he literally used you to make a weapon for your that you're gonna go against.
yeah, exactly. And
Like, he manipulates you through the whole thing. You don't get that,
and then it
until
gets
the end thing.
yeah, and then you also get the added like I guess salt on the wounds, or not salt on the wound, added insult of like trying to wrestle with the idea of should you help him or not, of like, because there's several parts where like he calls Mary Jane at one point and says, hey, like, do you think I should help Doc? Like, do you think should I give up on him and just try to take him down, or should I try to like reach in and try to find the person that I know as like
Right,
the doctor?
Because he's had this relationship with Dr. Octavian for years, and I mean, not this isn't a spoiler at all, but there's flashbacks of Miles Morales, and in like the flashback, like you'll run into Peter and Dr. Octavian at like in like a science center. So like even in that story, you're still seeing like this very flourishing relationship between the two of them, where they're just like friends, or Peter might even think of them more as like a father kind
figure.
of figure.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's definitely hard for the character itself to like wrestle with that idea, and until the end, like he doesn't know what he's gonna do. Like literally to the last second, he still probably doesn't know.
Yep.
Don't you guys
And
watch
that's
horror
and then,
movies?
but then when you find out, it's like the reassurance of like, yeah, like there's no, you can't trust him. And then there's like this desperate battle where, and again, it goes to like, Insomniac's just fantastic design with this game, where like they don't show the health bar at the end. It's just like it's like just a mashing, like you just keep fighting down the side of this building, the skyscraper, and it's like it's almost like it's like tiresome. Just you just have to do it type of thing, and it's so great. And then speaking of, while we're on this kind of story character thing, I think all the characters are great. I love the. I also didn't know that Miles was going to be such a big character in this, and so going in and seeing Miles become
Miles. Like,
Miles, yeah, and it's so awesome, dude. And like, I love that they took the time to develop these other characters. Even if you like, Mary Jane, you play as for a few, like, quite a few like
Right.
small missions, and same thing with Miles. You play for. By the way, there is a mission where you play as Miles, where you
Is
have
it Rhino?
a rhino, dude. So
It sucks. I hated that mission so much.
I thought it was so good. It was so intense, and I didn't get caught either. But it was like the thing where like I was walking around, and like, oh shit, he's right there. I was so into it, man.
And it was even like another feeling that I had during that mission. So just a quick synopsis of the mission.
Mhm.
Miles, as a character background, his father is killed.
Which I
and
also
he-
didn't. I had a sneaking suspicion because actually I think it happens right here, maybe, or maybe right there, where you meet this police officer, and I was like, huh, is this guy like?
Gotta be careful.
It was like the Captain Morales or
No,
or
that's the
something
thing.
like
His
that.
name was like Captain,
Or-
or his
no.
name's Jeffries or something. Like Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson. Yes, you're right. That's
and
his name.
and
Davis.
I was like, oh, it's not. Like I thought it was gonna be Miles or something, and that's how they're gonna relate
His mother's name is
Morales.
Morales.
Yeah. And so I remember watching it, and then getting to that point where I was like, oh my god, the officer died, and then going to the ceremony that they have, and then you see it's Miles, and I was like, oh my god. Anyway, continue. That's all I wanted to just kind of give a little preface.
So yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, Miles he's aggravated and looking for answers, and it was immediately after everything happened at the rally
Mhm.
that you kind of sneak away, and like as he's trying to find help and just generally get to safety, he encounters Rhino and is hiding through this like shipment container. I don't know what.
So it's essentially this happens in Act 3, and
Sorry, play. He's about to fuck you up.
yeah, I'm here. So in Act 3 of the game, where essentially New York City has fallen to the the Sinister Six? Is that what they're called?
Yes.
They essentially take over the city, and there's like goons all over the place, and one of the Sinister Six is Rhino and Scorpion, I believe. Yeah, Rhino and Scorpion, and Miles, who's volunteering at the feast shelter, is essentially has to find some medicines, a specific medicine, and the only way to get them is to go to a camp, and the camps are pretty much being like controlled by the Sinister Six or goons of the Sinister Six. So you, as a regular human who doesn't have their powers yet, has to sneak through this little encampment to try to get the medicine, and then Rhino is just just storming through around like trying to find you.
And like there's moments where like you have to pick your moment to run, and like I remember that that feeling in the pit of your stomach where you're like, shit, like
Yeah.
I have a very small window to make this work, and it intentionally gives you like these kind of, I wouldn't consider them like jump scares because they're not supposed to scare you, but they're fear inducing.
Intense, yeah.
Like to where Rhino, like he catches you, like he finds like where you're at and like pursues you, and like you have to like kind of start this whole process over of like, okay, I need to get a hiding spot, I need to like crawl out of here, I need to jump this gate, I need to do whatever I have to do to get out of here.
Yep.
And like this is the side of Miles that you see, and like you're sitting there playing him because he's just like a pedestrian, like he's just like a really smart kid.
Yeah,
and,
a
and,
hacker.
like,
He's built
right,
an app.
you don't see the like, so like when I was playing it personally, I was like is he gonna be Spider-Man, like what's happening here, like because like I was like, does he not have his powers yet, like there was just so much happening to where I was like it would kind of suck if they like tease Miles and then like he's not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So like playing through those missions was like kind of sad for me because I was like, damn, like they're not going to do Miles.
Yeah.
But as everyone
And
knows now,
At one
they
point,
do.
though, it almost was the point of where I was wondering if they were going to do like MJ was going to be spider powered up. I don't know what name she would get, but like, the way that Miles in the story gets his powers is essentially through a spider that from a lab, from Oswald's lab, or Oscorp's lab, I should say, that crawls onto her, and then it stays on her until she gets to Feast, and then at Feast it like crawls away, and then bites Miles, and that's how he's like at the start, and then at the end of the game is pretty much when Miles actually like reveals that he has these abilities. But there's so many, and like so with Miles as well as MJ, which by the way, people had problem with, you know, but going into it, I've heard a lot of people complain that Miles had a, no, not Miles, the MJ missions were like bad, but I actually thought they were pretty, like they were like a nice little like distraction or a separation from the, oh, I hate these guys, I'm just gonna run. These guys suck.
Not a fan of Sable?
No, well, like they're fine in the early game when they first get introduced, but
Yeah,
then
when
they
they're
have the
your friends.
jetpacks. It's absurd. I spent like a whole like 30 minutes on a mission because they just kept killing me with these stupid jetpacks. But even with the Mary Jane missions, I didn't find them. I thought they were a nice break from the Spider-Man gameplay, and I thought all the character moments were just fantastic. I also didn't expect, again, huge spoilers if you haven't played it yet, but that Aunt May would die. I was not expecting the end.
It's such like good writing, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that like whole like last little piece of like you like at her bedside, like her dying, and
Yeah.
she's like, and like go get him, Spider-Man, or whatever, like whatever that line was. And I was like, holy shit, she knew the entire time. Like
Yeah,
that was so
yeah.
cool.
You're trying to hide it from her, and but yeah, she knows that because like it's
Right.
pretty much like
Garvey Park Garrison,
she's like
what's your status?
he's like, so Spider-Man's by her bedside, and
Priority target.
he's like comforting her, and she says, "Take off," like,
That's what
and
it
he's
is.
like,
Take
he's-
off your mask, Peter, is what she says.
"Oh no!"
Or-
So she says, like, "Take off your mask," and he's like, and she's like, "I want to see I want to speak to my nephew or something, or I want to see my nephew."
Web Blossom. I'm telling you won't regret it. Go in
There
the
it
middle
is.
of all of them.
Oh,
Okay, now I'm just showing off.
that it? Oh my God, did I just clear him out?
Boom. Told you. It's a
Oh no,
dope
there's one
ass-
guy.
It's a dope ass fucking power.
That was very. I made it through the entire game without that. So yeah, and then she finds out that, or she already knew, and it just makes that ending more impactful. And I also love that. I also love the scene where right at the end, there are also tons of Easter eggs in this game towards other Spider-Man IPs, like when he's in the train and he's like trying to stop it, and he does like the and like gets the webs both walls, and they just snap immediately. And he's like, "Wow, I swear that worked before." There's small little references I loved, and I'm not even like, I haven't read all the comics or anything. I've read a few, and I've watched all the movies, but like just I know enough to where I can appreciate the the little things that they added, and it just makes it that much better. But I was just saying, like, the character moments are all so great. The characters are all so well developed that it's hard not to just like smile at their interactions, just like enjoy their little kind of.
There's even characters that like you really don't interact with like in the game, but they still have their own cutscenes. Holy shit! Why am I blanking on his name? Fucking Oscorp. I don't know why I'm blanking
Harry?
on his name.
No,
Harry and Harry's the son.
Harry's the son, yeah.
And the father's name. I want to say William, but no, that's
That
not
is
right.
not
I think
it.
I'm just thinking of the actor who played him, which I'm pretty sure is William Dafoe. In the
In the movie, yeah.
But I is it
I forget the name.
also Harry or no? No.
No, it's not also Harry. I know.
Either
I
way.
know yeah, go ahead.
Either way, the Harry was told to be, and the whole kind of story kind of gradually comes out where you think he's on a vacation, but
Yes.
he's actually like in a tube that his father put him in to keep him safe, and like the theory is that he has the symbiote on him for Venom. And
I just thought he was
like,
gonna be
just Green Goblin.
Green Goblin. Yeah.
No,
That makes
the-
sense though.
the working theory is that he has the symbiote on him, and to preserve his actual like being and not have the venom take over, that he was put in this container, and
Oh,
there's more like you gradually hear a little bit more like throughout the DLC even. There's actually a post-credit scene for the end of the physical game that shows him in the container officially.
yes, it
Oh.
does. And he goes up to it, and like he reaches out, and then like something else reaches. Like the father reaches out and touches the glass, and then Harry, like something from Harry, reaches out and touches the glass on the other side.
Right, and that's why people are thinking it's the symbiote. Which the third game that people have already been kind of pitching the third game, like fans. This is all
Well,
unofficial. but
I would say
love-
like
I
I would
love
say
the
Miles
idea.
is not a true second game. I'd say Miles is kind of a
It's a
spin-off.
glorified DLC. It truly is.
It's
an
well,
8-hour
I'd say
DLC that you pay
it's like
$40.
the Far Cry standalone DLC, you know, like the New Blood or whatever, New Dawn, that kind of thing.
And like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I like very compelling story. Like leans very much into kind of the opposite of what we were talking about earlier about the.
His name is
Spider-Man.
Norman Osborn. Thank you, Living Hair Glasses.
Norman.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Thank you, Norman. I had William in my like mind just because of the actor.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know why, but thank you. It was Norman. So yeah, Norman is keeping Harry in a test container, and is potentially for Venom.
Keeps up someone
But people are already pitching the third game because there's now a weird dynamic. Like, and when I say weird,
How you treat people in
like
Mark
who's
Rummage.
Spider-Man? You know, 'Cause there's Peter Parker and then there's Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And the idea is that like there has to be something because like Peter was the guy for so long, and like he can take a break now. And show that in Miles Morales, it's kind of like the whole thing that Peter's not around, so Miles has to step up.
Bro,
But when
I got just destroyed.
you
Okay,
are
continue.
getting fucked up, and people are pitching at the third game that there's going to be kind of this power dynamic that happens when Harry is either released out of the tube or escapes, whatever it may actually be. And if it is Venom, Peter's going to want to help his friend, where Miles is
wants
going
to
to
destroy
stop
it.
him. So they're pitching this idea where there's going to be a conflict and almost like a fight between the two Spider-Men to see like what the fate of Harry and potentially Venom or like whatever it is. So like I love that idea of just having them two kind of like fighting against each other, because you have the experience like Peter Parker trying to help his friend against the up and coming rising star, which honestly has more power
Yeah.
than Peter,
His
but
suits
Peter
are,
has
his
experience.
powers are just kind of more tricked out. As
Right, because
as they say,
he-
he has the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. Isn't that what it is?
Is that like from a reviewer quote? or
Did you
something?
not know about this meme?
No,
I think it was
didn't hear about that.
GameSpot, where someone of the
makes
GameSpot review team was like who reviewed it was like, and then like Miles walks with the exaggerated swagger of a black teen or something like that.
But, like they know that he's also like half Hispanic, right? Like that's like a big part of the game.
Yeah.
Like if they didn't play the game, I guess that makes sense. But like if anything, the game
No, that
itself.
was his final review of the game. He was saying like how
What?
he walks with this.
If you play Miles Morales, I'm just gonna tell you, like it leans so much more into like his Hispanic kind of side
Uh-huh.
than anything else. Because like there's times where he's like speaking Spanish and stuff.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't, yeah, like and plus like he's just a kid. Like there's nothing that like he's just a happy like very neighborhood friendly Spider-Man. I guess it has nothing to do about swagger or anything like that. Like he's just a good kid that like is very open and like honest and willing to help people.
Yep. And that's why
But
it became a
that
huge.
review is stupid to me. I like that one line. I don't know anything about this review,
What I
but
just
that's stupid to me.
Yeah. To me. Look at that pose right there. It's a nice pose.
Did you unlock the acrobat flips and stuff that you can do?
Oh, I
in
didn't
there?
mean to do that.
Say goodnight.
Yes. Yeah, I can do the. I've unlocked the full skill tree and stuff.
So
but-
why don't you do that? I always do that.
I can do it. I get the exaggerated swagger of a male in his 20s, 30s maybe. I don't know I don't know how old he is here.
I think it's late 20s. I think is what they go for here.
And so to your point where you were saying about how like the characters that aren't even on screen, like at least like Harry is a named character, and like canonically, but there's a character in the very start of this game that where when you first start activating the radio towers around town, you have to stop this crime, and the woman that you save in that crime is later you see her at Feast, because you tell her to go to Feast when you save after you save her, and she's in Miles Morales too. She's just hanging out, just she's still like doing good, and I just like that. Just it's like a tiny thing, right? Like most people wouldn't even notice it if you didn't know. But it's such a just to go out of your way to add that detail that I just absolutely love.
There was a thing when this Spider-Man came out back in 2018 that this is the first Spider-Man game that perfected the detail on the suit, and like
oh yeah,
like growing up, like me and my brother were actually just talking about this the other day, that like we loved NFL Street. Like we were like when we played it, we were like it will never get better than this,
I mean,
and then like I go back and play that on a PS2 now or an Xbox, and like I'm like, wow, this is awful. So like when I played the original Spider-Man games like on PlayStation 2, I was like, wow, like this is awesome. Like I get to swing. You can clearly tell it's Spider-Man, but like compare this to like that game, and it doesn't compare. Like you see every single little like divot in the suit, like
that's what I'm saying. Like look,
like
that's
fabric. You can make out the fabric.
Well, that's what like if you look at the screen right now, you can see how the web is like layered. It's like indented
right
out into, and then the mesh underneath it, which is just like a level of detail you just don't have in a lot of video games. Because in any other video game, this would just be like a solid thing.
Of the street in his eye.
Yep.
It's insane the level of detail that they put in this. And this, by the way, is the PS4 edition. It's not even the PS5 edition.
Yeah, the PS5 edition has even more details.
It only gets better than this.
And like even ray tracing and stuff. Like this one has like fake ray tracing where it's like pretty much just the way they do this one, right? So like here, so as you can see, there's reflection. How they do this is inside. They essentially have a second version of the city that's just low res. So if you go up to it, you'll realize like how low res it is. But from the outside, when you're just swinging around, it's so fast you don't really get to see the detail. But that's how they do the reflections in the last gen, like this one. Oh, hey, what's up? I didn't mean to do that.
And it actually leads to a weird Easter egg that a lot of people caught, that if you are scaling, I want to say it's the Empire State Building, and look in the reflection at a certain level, you can see what appears to be the Twin Towers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Have you not heard about that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's one of those like weird Easter eggs that people found in this game.
Huh. That's crazy.
Just like the other kind of weird thing that's like an ongoing joke, and they kept it in Miles Morales, is if you look at people on a boat in the water, they're like these terrifying looking creatures. like I can't even explain it.
I imagine they're just like kind of just roughly, vaguely human-like, and then just
I wouldn't even say human-like. They're like blobs with like human forms, and just like weird stuff. And then like Miles Morales, they kept that exact same figure in, and then put a sign next to it that says "We're still here." But yeah, it's they take shortcuts when like it's small stuff that you can't tell. But like that's stuff that would never bother me. Like look at the sunset. Like for this being not the best version of
this game, yeah.
Of this game, it's still one of the best things that
I've taken so many photos on this in this game, just messing around in photo mode. It's insane.
You might have to go to a different side. I don't know which side it's
on.
No,
yeah, it's fine. I'm not gonna test the theories. Look at that. But no, and then the transition from the story. I actually want to have another personal interlude. I don't know about you, but one of the games that I absolutely loved when I was younger was Spider-Man 3 on the Wii. And I remember playing that. I played so much of that game, and I remember being just absolutely like I am Spider-Man, like because you move with the it's the Wii, so it has the
With the
motion controls.
nunchuck. Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I am Spider-Man. This is fantastic. And I thought like I was like, oh, this is the best. Like this is the most like Spider-Man you can ever get. But the gameplay of this game takes that and just puts it above. Like it's just another notch where it's so fun and smooth. And here, look, I'm not gonna talk smack to Batman. If you've been around the stream, you'll know I love Batman. Right?
The Arkham series is great in its own respect, but
Exactly.
This game blows that out the water. Just because
I think
like,
and it's like the meme of this game or Batman Arkham games walked so that Spider-Man could run, because
like
the formula is essentially the same.
yeah, the combat like mechanics are like to its core the exact same thing. Like you have an attack, you have a dodge.
Yep.
And then like gadgets that kind of
Sorry I couldn't save the van.
give you other options of how to approach a situation. But where it differentiates itself from the Arkham series is it's like traverse, you know?
Yep.
Because like Batman, if they gave me the option, like not that you really had to use it, because outside of the most recent one, Arkham Knight, you didn't really like go too far, but I would fast travel. Like if they had that option, I would absolutely do it. Where in this game they have the option of fast travel, and I never wanted to do it. I always like it's so satisfying swinging.
Yep. And to the point where I remember, I think I said this last stream because I started this last week. Oh God, look at that Spider-Man's butt. Jesus. I don't know what angle I'm trying to go for. But anyway, there'd be times where I'd be like, oh, there's an objective like 1,000 meters away or whatever, and I'd be swinging, and then I'd realize that I was so into swinging and getting the movement down that I'd forget to like look at the objective, and I'm like, oh shit, I passed it.
Now, friends, you know I'm always
Yeah,
open
I
to
agree.
hearing
No,
suggestions.
it's so much
Police
fun
officer called me out on
just
social
be
media for
existing
being
in this world
hard
of
on
Spider-Man.
And
Because
another reason,
you feel it. Like, as weird as that may sound, you feel the swing. Like it's so
Yeah.
smooth and just like works. Like you don't. It's just so weird. And if you haven't played the game, like it's so hard to explain, but it's amazing.
another reason why I've mentioned Batman is because as much as I love Batman's combat, I think the combat in this game is just so much more. It's fun to the point where like you want to act like in Batman. I just press the button. It was a beat 'em up. I wouldn't really think like, oh, I need to do this combo or I need to learn this this different button variation. But in this game, I'm like actively going out of my way to oh my god, it's gonna screw me up. Maybe this will work. There it is.
No, I agree. And Miles Morales, once you get to it, it takes like the combat to a whole nother level because like Miles has more abilities that Peter doesn't, like I stated before. So like you won't have as many gadgets, but you'll have just more
These convicts would use
like,
their freedom for something non-destructive.
seamless transition kind of like attacks that you can do. They're called venom attacks, but like you'll see whenever you get to it. It's going to be so much better in terms of combat, that like swinging and everything like that. Like it's a whole different kind of style too, because you can tell the difference between the two and like the way they approach like a swing and stuff like that. I know that's very small detail, and like in one of the DLCs they actually even talk about it. Like Peter's talking to Miles, and Miles like found the web shooters that Peter was going to make for him, and then he was like Peter, like, why do you have me doing math? Like what does this have to do with physics? And he's like talking about like a pendulum. He's like, all right, now imagine you're that pendulum. And he's like, I got it. Like because you have to be able to do that kind of thinking on the go. And then he finds the web shooters, and he's like, well, see, the problem is like with the web shooters, like you made them to your wrist size and not mine, so you need to recalibrate them to like make sure that like it holds me. And Peter's like impressed by this kind of thought. So like small stuff like that even is like a huge difference between the two games.
Yeah, and I thoroughly enjoy the way the game plays. And again, not saying anything against Batman. I just think that this builds on that formula so well, because I think a lot of games in this genre of this the third-person action adventure that are open world games, which there's countless. There's a lot of them just get kind of brushed into, oh, it's just the Batman combat, right? It's just, oh, it's just Batman combat. And for the most part, Batman's always better. This game takes it and builds, and I think it's also because this developer has experience in so many different, so like Insomniac worked on third-person like puzzle games, I guess, is that like Ratchet and Clank,
Well,
and they've also worked on
even more recently, like Sunset Overdrive
Sunset
was
Overdrive,
amazing.
yep.
It's the exact same thing, to where they had the option of fast traveling, but the traverse in it was so like, because you can like grind and like create these huge combos like between your attacks, your grinds, your moves, that like filled up your meter in this game. So like it almost rewards you for doing that, and like just finding a unique way of going about like from getting to point A to point B when it's not like a Spider-Man game where he has the ability to swing over buildings. Like it's genius. Like the fact that they can make just getting to the objective fun is an accomplishment.
Yep. And but yeah, this game just kind of stands on its own 2 feet, being built on what Batman did, which just makes it that little bit more enjoyable. I think that's oh god, that was a big reason for why I enjoyed the crap out of it, and I just found myself getting lost in this world, and in a good way, not like, oh man, where the hell do I go? But
I will say
I just keep getting Sable agents just kicking my
that
butt.
to bring back a series of reviews that I tried getting started a couple years ago. Post credits.
Oh yes.
This game post credits gets very repetitive. And that's probably the only downside to this game.
Well, I think that's only for
downside,
platinum though, like for people who want to chase platinum.
If you want to get the platinum, you're gonna have to do a lot of the same. Like you're gonna have to do like 5 crimes per district. You're gonna have to clear out warehouses.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to clear out.
I know, I could tell. You're gonna have to just do like a bunch of small stuff throughout the game. And like there's some stuff that are cool. Like there's training that you can complete. Or Taskmaster challenges that like eventually leads to something else.
I've finished the Taskmaster stuff.
Okay, you already finished it?
Yeah.
So you actually get to fight Taskmaster throughout this game, which it's really cool because I didn't expect it. So like the first time is like you get tackled by Taskmaster and you're just like in this fighting sequence, and it caught me off guard because I was just like,
there is.
Like,
I will say on that note, while I do think it's repetitive, there are some actually good post credit content in terms of there's a I didn't mean to just jump into this, but okay, all right, I guess I will. I was gonna go in stealth. Like there's the Taskmaster boss fight. There's the whole chasing down of Black Cat. That's her name. I was gonna say Black Widow. And there's also Tombstone, who Tombstone you just see in the actual like main storyline, and you actually don't see him as Spider-Man. You see him as Mary Jane, and then you actually get to.
So the DLC it expands on Tombstone and Silver Sable. Just to give you a little bit of context. So
is it Tombstone? Because the Tombstone I've defeated now. I've put away. It's Hammerhead. Is that his name? Yeah, I think it's Hammerhead is who you see in that.
Are you sure it's not Tombstone?
Can you believe these
Yeah,
it might be Hammerhead.
So Tombstone is in. Oh, I didn't mean it. Okay. So Tombstone is in the game, but he's like a whole side mission that it's not DLC. It's just like side content. I think I messed up here. Oh no, I didn't. Somehow I'm not caught.
It is Hammerhead. You're right. You're 100% right. Because Tombstone is the big biker dude that you do as a side quest.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I enjoy the fact, and again, you don't need to pay for the side content, so I enjoy the fact that it's just like, you get that
the side missions can be fun, and it's the same thing with Miles Morales.
It's the grinding. It's the complete all the
simple stuff.
Yeah.
It's these kind of objectives combined with the crime that becomes very repetitive and like made me go like, oh, like I have to do this again. Like, but like even at its worst moment, like
It's
if
so
I have
fun.
to do like 8 crimes, like I'm still enjoying the combat. Like there's never a point where I'm like, oh, I have to fight again. It's more or less just like, there's like no other content to go with this aside from me fighting. Like
What I ended up doing,
I don't feel rewarded really.
is pretty much, yeah, what I ended up doing is I played through the entire game with, like, you know, good surround sound and, you know, paid attention to the story so I could enjoy it. And then after just going for the grind, I've been just watching TV, and I've just been like, I don't need to pay attention to the small dialogue or these guys talking crap about me, so I just kind of, you know, button mash and kind of get through it.
The dialogue can be hilarious.
It is fun. And there's actually
Because
one, I don't know, there's a suit that actually has, that just makes you,
It's
like,
called
insult.
quips. Yep.
Yeah, quips. Yeah, it just makes you
I'm pretty
insult.
sure it's the cartoon one.
Yep. It's fantastic. Oh. But yeah, it's easy to grind through, and it's actually quite an easy platinum. Actually, a lot of people have this game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably the game that I think most people on the PS4 have had the platinums for. That's not like a,
That's not like
My
a
name's Man.
5-minute arcade game.
yeah, which is, you know, it's fair because it's so much fun, and it's
Time for a shift change, huh?
it's focused,
Is these other
but
guys
it's also like,
not impressing me?
yeah, it takes a little bit of grind, but it's fun. That's what I meant to say. Okay. continue.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple achievements in here that are just like, that are just
Hey,
cool,
get that A word out of here. It's trophies, alright?
From what
Did I
can
say
see, it's
achievements?
more
Yeah.
like illegal weapons.
I'm a
This might come as a
lifelong
shock, but
Xbox
I don't think they're
Yeah, you
really
are.
guy. I mean, I grew up with a PS2, but Xbox 360 and Xbox One is where I spend most of my time recently. There's a couple fun trophies. Why would you do that? You just dropped it on yourself.
It's like it's, you know how like wrestling, you like you smash something just to kind of like, it's like adrenaline. That's what that was.
No, but there's like secret trophies that you can get, like visiting Uncle Ben's grave.
Yes.
Like stuff like that's fun because it's like this small moment that like otherwise the story would not give you. Like you really have to go out of your way to do it. That gives like this like small little like kind of like realization that like this is like still something that Peter thinks about, like that, like the death of his uncle. You
Yeah.
know, like even though it's not set in like this whole period where he's
I
still
love the fact that that
enraged
trophy, by
about
the way,
it.
I'm pretty sure that's a hidden trophy, as if like, you know, just in case, protecting you from the fact that, you
Yeah,
know, he is
Uncle
dead.
Ben. Spoiler alert: Uncle Ben's dead.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on from that, we kind of touched on it earlier. Visually, this game is just, dude, it's so beautiful. Like it's like, there's so many things that just like, oh, I need to on with these guys. It's so pretty, and I also really love photo mode. I've said it before. I spent just way too long just on photo mode, just goofing around. It's and I'll probably share them on Instagram or something. But there's just so many photos I've taken that I genuinely think are just awesome. And the fact that there's so many different suits, and I don't even have them all. I'm missing 6, it seems. But I have. Oh, wait, is this? Yeah,
They're
it is.
DLC. They're DLC.
The endgame suit. I might as well. I have
The
quite a
Iron-
few.
So the Iron Spider, it also gives you the things that pop out of the back.
Ooh, 2099. This one's pretty dope.
So I got all the suits.
Yeah,
I
you
did all-
need to get all the suits for the platinum.
Well, I even got the DLC suits too. Like I went back and grinded for everything.
This guy does. Oh, that's pretty sick.
I personally didn't care for this. Like, I always stuck with the Red Blossom.
I switch it up constantly just to,
test new stuff.
yeah.
There's one that you unlock where everything's one hit, but you also are one hit. And
Oh.
if you want to have a fun time, just do that. And like really get yourself into like one of these warehouse fights
I have to do it when
Sure.
I'm not streaming because I cannot speak and
and
play,
focus
really.
like that.
Yeah.
But it's
I mean, you
real
see, you
fun.
see what masterful gameplay that I'm presenting here.
Yeah, it's really fun. Just to give you a little bit more to kind of play with.
For reference, I have died more in this less than 1 hour review that we've done than my entire, 18-hour playthrough of the game.
I don't think I died. I mean, maybe once. I won't say that I didn't die, because I probably did.
MJ, call the police.
But anyway,
I've got the place secured.
game looks fantastic. There's so many different awesome suits that are just kind of small little references. The soundtrack is fantastic. Just super good tracks that are just awesome. Like as you're swinging around the city, and it like starts to kick in, and it really makes you feel like Spider-Man. Hey guys, I gotta go bounce though. So ciao. Sent you an email. I have seen your email. I have it saved on my desktop. I will read it. And thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Abby, you have a good one. And who knows? Maybe we'll be back. We'll be still live by the time you come back from whatever you're doing. Who knows? But
yeah, we're probably gonna be on till about 2.
Yeah. And but yeah, it's so much. The soundtrack is great, and also the voice acting is on point. Like all the characters sound exactly
What
how
they look
should.
like.
Yeah, like you look at them and there's no. I think the dissonance is that the word, where there's no like disconnect between what you see and what you hear. You never
It's like you see the Joker and it's Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
You know?
Yeah, that's kind of
like yeah, or Batman and like Nolan North, right? That's
or
that's
no,
what it's like.
Kevin Conroy. Batman's Kevin
Yeah.
Conroy, yeah.
And then Deadpool's Nolan North.
Yep. And
I knew it was one of the two.
and then also Nolan North is also Nathan Drake, so that kind of thing. Everyone you
I didn't plan on trying it like that, so that's why I didn't associate it like that.
so everyone you see, it just sounds exactly what it is. I know there's this whole controversy around his face because they changed the look of him.
I was just about to get to that. That in the remaster they changed Peter Parker's face.
How is
because
it? You've played the remastered. You've played both. I've played the
I
PS4.
don't care, honestly. It like you maybe see his face through the duration of the game for maybe 30 minutes total.
Yeah.
Right? Like
It's not a lot.
you don't. It's not a lot for one, and two, it still fits. Like it's still kind of the same face, but it's just slightly different. And
I mean,
the only
it's
reason they
kind
did
of a
that is
more
because
Tom Holland-esque face, which still is like it's Spider-Man, and I don't really know why it was such a big deal. I mean, look, I get it. Like I've played through this game, I spent 20 hours with it, and there is that kind of feeling of I'm connected to this face, per se.
right.
But at the end of the day, like the writing is, the writing isn't bad.
The
it's the
story
same.
should trump all.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And
Like,
it's
all the
itself
minor
is so
details-
good.
That's what I'm saying. Everything else is just kind of, it's just kind of there. It exists in this world. And the only reason they did it is because they wanted to give you something
More brutal.
new. Like they wanted to give you
Behind all this.
a fresh.
Yeah, they gave some
cleaner
reason. I
look.
think there was to
It's because the whatever I don't know the software that they had to use to remaster it, but the face couldn't go through properly, so they had to change the face.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I mean that's the dumbed down version of like what they said, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it
Oh.
doesn't really matter. I don't think it really detracts from the experience overall.
It doesn't.
Um,
It doesn't. I played through the game again and I still loved it.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, and then I guess lastly, I'm kind of trying to stick to. This is the first time we've done video reviews like this, but I'm trying to stick to my formula that I've had. That I've always kind of I've always done when I write.
Of like graphic, story.
Yeah.
sound.
Well, I say story and gameplay, graphics, sound, and then miscellaneous, any other stuff that I want to mention. Which there are some miscellaneous stuff I want to mention. First of all, I should have probably said this at the top. I'm playing on this on the PlayStation 5. Now but this is the PS4 version of the game, so it's not the remaster. But I'm playing on the PS5, and there is a difference. The only difference that you see is that because it's on the SSD, it is the load times are just
Quicker.
split second. Like it is impressively impressively fast.
You saw briefly earlier when you did a fast travel. Like that
Yes,
fast travel
exactly.
would have taken about a minute and a half, but
Yeah,
instead it was like 15 seconds.
it didn't hit me until like I was like halfway through the game, and I was like, wait a minute, like the load times are just like instant.
So,
Like,
so
it's
fun
crazy.
fact: Spider-Man was actually before it was even like official, like PS5. They did what are they called? Benchmark test of like the load times and stuff like that for Spider-Man. They used Spider-Man as the test, and you can probably even go back on YouTube and watch the videos. But like they showed how quick the load, like from like entering disc to like getting to play the game, and then like load time and stuff like that, and it blew it out the water. That was
I
the moment
mean,
where I was like, wow, like this next generation is going to be suited up.
here, I don't think I put it on the video of me actually doing it, so I'm gonna actually try to cold boot it, not cold boot it, but boot it up. So this is the menu screen. X, continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 seconds. That is for a full, and then it's just full open world from here.
Yeah, I mean, even with like longer load times and stuff like that, the game is still worth it. Like if you don't have a PS5, can't get a PS5 because they're projecting that more won't be coming out until
Yeah, there's a
second half of 2021
circuit
because of
issue or something.
there's shortages on parts,
Yeah.
so they can't get enough parts to actually like fulfill demand. Which I mean for Sony is a great thing because you're gonna have constant selling systems throughout 2021.
Yeah.
But for us as the consumer, it's awful because
It
most
sucks.
people won't be able to get it.
Yeah.
What the fuck was I just about to say? Oh, but even like if you still want to play this game and have PS4,
Yeah.
like, do it.
I would 100% guarantee. Yeah, it's a good
The,
game,
the load screens are very minimal
but and it still looks
unless
great.
unless you fast travel or like have to like stop the game entirely and come back to it later on. Like you're not going to encounter that much.
Yeah.
It's just the truth. It's mostly cutscenes and very flawless like open world to cutscene kind of transitions.
Uh-huh.
So
And
I would recommend if you still want to play a game, go out and buy it.
then the last two things I want to say. One of them we've actually kind of covered. I just want to repeat it. I'm just looking at my notes while I say this. Is the trophies are super easy. That's why this game has so many platinums, and I'm 100% gonna go for this 100% because it's just something I want under my belt. It's another one just kind of. No, it's a game that I enjoy that I want to kind of play more of. So I'll definitely go for that 100%.
They're personally, I like while I'm playing the game, I'll know if I want 100% it. Like when a game's so good, like even if this wasn't easy, I would 100% the game because
Yeah.
I want to let everyone know that like this is how much I like this game, and like I want to like make sure that I
and
do
you-
everything that the
also
developers wanted me to do.
And you've also gotten platinumed the Miles Morales as well.
Yes, like both games are phenomenal. And I also I mean, as kind of a fun fact, I also 100% Sunset Overdrive and the DLC for Sunset
wow.
Overdrive. So, yeah, Insomniac knows what the fuck they're doing, and they somehow struck a mean chord with me.
Bring back the Resistance trilogy, you cowards. That's all I gotta say.
And some Killzone. Don't they also do Killzone a little bit?
No, that's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, that's
Guerrilla.
Guerrilla. You're right.
But
Also
no, yeah,
great game.
Resistance underplayed, underappreciated, 100%. I would if they Austin. I live for the day that we get to an E3 or a PlayStation 5 showcase, and they're like,
Viva la Resistance?
no, get that out
No?
of here. They go up on stage and they're like, oh, and there's one more thing, and it's like the Resistance music, like the alarm sirens start to play, and it's like Resistance trilogy remastered. Oh my god, dude, I'd be over the moon. But anyway, the last thing I want to say is this is actually something I found about open world games. Because I played Sleeping Dogs last year, and I don't play a lot of DLC. I'm not a big DLC person, but occasionally I'll get them. And I played the DLC for Sleeping Dogs, and Sleeping Dogs is a I thought the DLC was the weakest part of that game, and I kind of feel the same way about Spider-Man. I don't care for the DLC.
Have you played the DLC?
Yeah, I played so it's 3 episodes of the DLC. I played the first episode.
I will say the first episode's the worst of the 3.
Oh, okay. I just didn't. I was just like, nah. And also,
So, just to give
thing,
a quick overview
Uh-huh.
of the DLC, the first one leans very hard on your relationship with Black Cat.
which, by the way, cool conversations. Like like what they were trying to hint at with the fact that Peter could be the father of Black Cat's child. Like, I like that insinuation. It's just it goes nowhere. Like, it's like, oh, it's a prank. We gotcha. And I was like, oh man, really? Like, you're going down this like mature and like in many ways like tough to talk about kind of road, right? Like with Mary Jane and his relationship with her, and I was interested. But then they just kind of like, ooh, like you got fooled by the Black Cat once again because you're a big horn dog. Like what's going on? All right, continue.
Then the second episode, it leans hard on a detective that, or maybe even a little bit higher than a detective, maybe like a sergeant or something, that has personal beef with Hammerhead, and Hammerhead is going for basically his plot of becoming invincible by utilizing Sable's technology. And then the third episode is Silver Sable coming back because Hammerhead's stealing all of their technology. And you and Silver Sable team up in part 3 to take down Hammerhead.
And also, by the way, I talked about earlier at the start how the game kind of subverts your expectations with the story and the way the plot and all that. The story, the DLC, at least what I've played so far, does not. In fact, there's a side missions in first one where you have to find all these paintings. This police officer's like, hey, let's talk, and I need you to help me with this, find all these projects or whatever. And like 2 paintings in, I'm like, oh wait, so this guy's Black Cat's dad, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then it is.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like nah, they won't go like that simple, would they? And then like you're like, nah, this guy's probably like supposed to be the whole thing. And then you get all the paintings and it's like, where's this guy at? And they're like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, right. Like I saw that shit coming from a mile away. So it's like, I don't know. I think the DLC, at least right now. Wait, is Fist Tower where Trump Tower is supposed to be?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Interesting.
Very possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very likely. But yeah, that's all I have. That is our very long-winded review. But that's probably what I'd imagine all of our reviews are going to be from now on. If as we kind of
if we do
this.
videos, we'll ramble.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just a mini podcast.
It's like death, taxes, and us rambling in videos.
Yep.
Only certainties in life.
Exactly. So that is it. Austin, do you have anything else to say about Marvel Spider-Man on the PS4?
It's great. If you can play it on the PS5, definitely recommend it. But if you can only get it on the PS4, go for it. Like it's a very well written story, great gameplay, graphics to compete with the best games out there. So
yep. And hey, even if you have it, or even if you've played it on the PlayStation 4, there's trophies for doing New Game Plus too. So maybe now's the time to get cracking. Anyway.
And if you're a complete deviant like I am, play it on the PS4 and then get it for the PS5 as well, and you get the platinum again.
Platinum. Yeah. Well, that is it. I pretty much echo everything that Austin said right there for his conclusion. I think it's a fantastic game. If you're watching this, let me get to a nice rooftop. I think that's a good one. If you're watching this on YouTube, again, like I said at the start, show us what you think. Give us some feedback. Let us know if you liked it or not. This new format that we're doing, we appreciate it. And obviously, subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. And head on over to twitch.tv/GreatWhiteandCo, because that is where we will be going live quite often now. Just hanging out, doing streams, doing these kind of things, playthroughs, all that fun stuff. And if you're watching this on Twitch, stay tuned, because we are not done just yet. Right after this interview, or sorry, right after this outro, not interview.
Yep, I created this game.
Wow, that's
This is
fantastic.
why
You
I
did
said
great
it.
work on this one. Right after this outro, we're going to hang out for a little bit, and then we're going to be starting the game that you guys voted in chat last week, Metro 2033 Redux. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you just kind of had this playing in the background, and here's a nice little selfie from Spider-Man, and we will see your beautiful faces on the flip side. Peace.